In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
Right now, I want to actually do a segment that we usually do a little bit later, but it's going to be Celebrity Let the People Speak. So, and this one comes from one of your former members of, and you, I know there's a history with this gentleman that's going to ask the question and the band Holland. So if Vic, our producer, is ready to ask this question, he is ready to ask you, Michael Angelo Batio. Here we go.
Hey, Mike, Ryan, how you guys doing? Mike, I've seen a lot of guys who perhaps are more embraced by the mainstream, we'll say, copping a lot of your shit if it's visual stuff like the multi-neck guitar or the, the techniques involved, the first shredder. When you see guys just outright stealing from you, is that a compliment or is that like, hey, motherfucker, that's my shit? Love you guys. Mwah.
Yeah, it's funny. Hey, Alex.
Hold on.
Alex was in Holland. He's a great guitar player. Good friend.
There you go. I just want everyone to know that's our podcast favorite man. I was not expecting Alex to ask that question shirtless, but I guess that was an extra bonus for the two of you to be shirtless, folks, and all of you watching in the live chat and the YouTube official channel, of course. That is Alex Kane. Played in the band Holland. Did you guys ever play in the band together, or was it different times?
No, we've been good friends for a long time. In fact, I went to go see him when he was in Holland. I came back from they were on tour but yeah, Alex is a great guitar player in his own right. Always busy, always doing something cool. And
so, what do you think about that question he asked? When people, what do you think about the question that he just asked about when people do the same sort of things that you have sort of pioneered? Do you take it as a compliment, or do you?
I'm pretty, how can I say it? When I started doing instructional programs in the 80s, Starlicks, I showed everything that I could show. In fact, I had fans telling me they think that I showed too much. I showed my over-under in the, technique. I call it the MAB over-under in the mid 80s. I've been around long enough. I saw Richie Blackmore play over the neck. I'm left-handed. This is my strong hand. And
I'm left-handed as well.
So
I'm left-hand dominant as well.
So to answer Alex's question, the only time I ever got upset about it, because I'm grateful. For example, like Herman Lee, studied my things. A lot of the guitarists, the big name people, give me credit for it, because and I think it's cool. It's like, too, Ryan, it's sometimes easier to talk to Zakk Wylde than it is to like one of the openers that thinks they're better than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There seems to be a little bit of ego going on with some of the openers. And sometimes the chip on the shoulder is a good thing for you to have if it gives you that motivation to keep practicing, working harder. It's a problem when it becomes something where it becomes disrespectful. And like I said, Zakk, you're exactly right, because I've interviewed Zakk before. He's been nothing but a gentleman, has great, and you can just talk to him, guy to guy, guitarist to guitarist.
Yeah. In fact, one of the conversations I had with Zakk was he was asking me about the Nitro Freight Train solo, and that. When I came up, and too, a lot of in the LA era of the 80s, there was so much competition. And so, but with my techniques, the reason I invented the double is because I knew doing this, even if it's mine, which I'm pretty sure I've never seen a video from the old days that somebody did it like me, but I said they can't copy a double guitar unless they get it built. So Alex,
I'm just going to actually, you built the hardware. You actually changed the hardware.
I figured, okay, if people are going to steal my stuff, they're going to have to build a guitar, darn it. But you know what, to answer Alex's question, I don't have this like tremendous, I'm a win-win person. I'm not win-lose. So, but unfortunately not everybody's like that, but I am flattered when people do it. But I got upset only one time in my life, and there was somebody that actually they were taking my songs, they tattooed tattoos like mine, they wore clothes like me, and they were doing my show with my music and trying to make a career out of it. And I just told the guy, I said, and I wasn't even mean about it, but I said, look I'm still here. You know, this isn't a kid's tribute.
It's not a tribute yet. Yeah.
You know, this is you're trying to, you're doing my thing, you know, and claiming it's yours. I said, you know, I said, you can't really do that. It's not going to be a career for you. You know, if you want to do a tribute, that's one thing. But, you know, when people do it, like, again, I'll use Herman Lee as a great example. I just played with them when they came through Chicago. You know, we're good friends. He does this, but he gives me credit. And that's the thing you know, I just want the legacy out there. I love people doing it. Like, for example, Sawtooth, for the first time ever, did a 50-piece limited edition run of my double. And there's
That's
a really
amazing. Is that coming out? When is that?
Yeah, it came out. We're sold out of it. And a real popular young guitarist named The Dew got one of these, and he demoed it. But you know, people know that it's me, and that's the thing. So I'm pretty thick-skinned about it. I don't really care that people do this. You know, let me ask you this: if you play my music and try to look like me and do this and make a career out of it, then that kind of bothered me a little.
Let me ask you this, because I remember I was in Los Angeles. I moved there in '83, same year that you moved there. I was going to GIT. Was it Doug Marks that had this problem? Was that the guy that you had the beef with? Was it Doug Marks? Was that his name, the guitar player?
Doug Marks is from Metal Method. Yeah, he's the owner of Metal.
But the guy that was like completely copying your stuff. Was it Doug Marks or was it somebody else?
Doug is the owner of Metal Method. He's the one that did Speed Kills DVDs, and this is actually a younger guy. It happened, but there's been other people that try to do this back in the day. I don't really know their names though.
I remember Doug Marks having really big blonde hair, and you had the really big brunette hair. So I'm glad that you two are friends, because you are the salt and pepper. You're the salt and pepper shakers of shred guitar.
You know, Doug is really great. He's still got the passion for it. You know, that picture that you just shot, that's my Gibson double guitar. That was built by Gibson.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It has a little bit of an Explorer vibe. Yeah. So what actually gave you that? We know where the inspiration comes, right? You get this inspiration where, like, I have this technique where I'm going to go over under technique, but then I can do it with a double guitar. It's one thing to have the idea to build that guitar, but then how do you make it a reality?
It's a good question. You know, when I was in school, I would do drawings, and I saw in Chicago every Sunday they had a show. It was on public television. It was Channel 11, WTTW, where one week you could see the Chicago Symphony String Quartet. The next week it would be Willie Nelson, all genres of music. And I remember, and then one week they had Grand Funk Railroad. I mean, you know, it was so, all different styles, you know, from country to orchestral to rock. And one week they had a jazz concert with a guy named Rahsaan Roland Kirk. And here I'm a kid, you know, I'm not even in high school yet. I'm watching this, and, you know, I was in middle school, junior high, as we used to call it. And the guy ended the show. He was an older guy at the time, playing two saxophones at the same time. And I'm like, huh? It was like, he's literally doing this, a jazz saxophonist. And then what they would do is they would do like quick bios of the bands. So he invented this thing called circular breathing. I saw this on TV. He could breathe in and out at the same time. The dude could hold a note for 20 minutes. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. He was like, I'd never seen anything like this guy. And I said, you know, like, it will be mine. I will do this. And I started thinking, and I started coming up with the idea. I'm left-handed. I play piano. I can pull this off. And again, it was my thought process. Like when Alex asked, do I get mad? I can't stop somebody from doing this and calling it theirs. I can only get it out there that I'm the originator of it and it's my trademark, but I can't stop people. But I figured if I have a guitar nobody else has, they're going to have to go through a pretty detailed process in order to do what I'm doing. And so I started coming up with designs, and Eddie Van Halen is the one that put it over the top for me. Really? I saw Van Halen's second tour. It was one of the greatest rock shows I've ever seen. I have a story about David Lee Roth at that show. he was unbelievable. And Eddie played Cathedral. I was just, wow. I was
now, were they headlining at this point? Or
yeah, they were headlining, and you know, sold out like 20,000 seats. You know, it was the tour for their second album.
So Van Halen 2. And what does David Lee Roth do that just impresses you like no other?
This is as a really cool story.
That's what we're here for. We're here for the cool stories.
When I was a kid, my mom loved Elvis Presley, and this is it has to do. There's an Elvis component to this. And my sister didn't want to go. I still have the original tour booklet. This is in the 70s. I was 16 years old. And it was when he was still really thin, but it was later part of his life. It was the comeback tour. So he was dressed in all those, you know, the stuff you see Elvis later.
You're talking about Elvis, the black leather. Era.
And then he was wearing like those white jumpsuits with the cape and doing the American trilogy. And he did a move. And there were video screens even back in the day. So you know, they were, you know, obviously the technology wasn't like now, but so there were these two big video screens, and my mom was going crazy. These girls are screaming, you know, and I'm like, my mom's embarrassing me. And she's like, oh, Elvis, oh my God. You know, every girl around me, oh my God, he's so handsome. You know, and he was singing like a bird, and he did a move, Ryan. It blew my mind, you know, because he was doing this karate chop stuff. And then he goes like this. He stops. He just stops, does nothing, stands there like this, like a frozen statue. And I've never seen this before in my life. The entire stadium quieted down to almost nothing. And then he goes like this. When he waited for silence, he went, and he just moved his head. Ah! Everybody starts screaming. Now, here's how it relates to Van Halen. This is the era where David Lee Roth had the lion's mane and he had the body of a Chippendales dancer. I mean, Absolutely. He was cool.
Yeah.
Alex Van Halen's got 3 kick drums. He stands on the drum riser. I saw this. This is not an exaggeration. He does a scissor kick, like, and he does the.
I know that. I've seen that picture before.
He jumps off and he lands like this. And what does he do?
Doesn't move.
He does the Elvis move. He stands there perfectly still, and the same reaction happened. And I didn't know it at the time. It was only after it happened I put the two together. The entire stadium quiets down, and he did the same move. He just tilted his head. They had the big video monitors, the same reaction. It was like I've never seen power, like when you can control an audience like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was sheer power to me. I've never seen it. You know, I mean, the control Roth had, he was that cool.
Roth must have saw the same show that you and your mom
So that's
saw.
my story.
Yeah, no, Roth must have seen that same exact tour that you and your mom saw at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that answers the Roth part.
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 guitar method.
The heart's in trouble.